Hello and welcome back to another episode of this week's watches, and what an exciting episode this is. We have two fantastic GMT Pepsis, as I realign that bezel right there, live action, and we have some fantastic options all the way down to vintage with an Omega that we're going to take a closer look at. A very special watch indeed. We have some obscurities with the Scofield and the Bremont and the Glycine. We have some really interesting modern pieces that I've been excited to finally get in with the PRX, and we just have everything in between, including the limited edition Doxa, which we're going to get into. Yeah, an exciting drop this week. 11 pieces. We're sort of trying to keep it under that 12. We're slowly starting to bring it down. But at the end of the day, we're getting that many fantastic watches in. So obviously, we're going to keep going by sort of providing as many as we can each week without overwhelming you guys and girls. So yeah, as always, you can skip to a specific watch down in the description. It will take you, there'll be a timestamp, so you can skip to that exact part, skip all my rambling, which I often do. There'll also be a link to the website where you can go over and check out all the details, including the price, and purchase directly from there, and it will also state if it is sold. Now, I do want to say we are actually recording this drop video about 2 weeks in advance. We're shooting this directly after shooting the other drop video because we have that many watches in that we are weeks ahead, which is fantastic. It's a great position to be in. What it does unfortunately mean is when you come to see this, some of these watches may have sold, they may not have, they may all still be available, but some very well may have sold already. So as always, if you want to beat the site, you want to be one of those people who get one of these watches before it hits the website, make sure you follow us on Instagram at Kibble Watches, and we always share what's coming soon. And you can ask us the price, you can ask us the details, you can ask for more photos, and we can do a deal all through there, nice and easy and simple. So yeah, that's why we're shooting it that far in advance. Also, next week or the week before you're watching this, I've got to remember when this is coming out, Saturday, so the week just gone when you're watching this, Danny is away for the entirety. He's on a little holiday. I think he's allowed one of those every now and again apparently, and also I'm going to be away from the Wednesday and the Thursday. Not so much, I'm not going to be in very often or for long on the Tuesday because I'm going to be attending a wedding. So yeah, it's all over the place next week. So I want to make sure all this is done and ready for you guys, and you still get a drop and it's still to the same standard you expect. So whilst we've got a bit more time this week, I'm getting it done. Now, what's on wrist? I am wearing something that's going to be hitting the website soon, unless obviously it's already sold by the time you're watching this. And it is a gorgeous automatic Omega Geneve calendar crosshair dial. It's got the dagger indices or the teeth indices. The case is unpolished. It is gorgeous. It's a beautiful example and very, very nice original dial. I just absolutely love it, and I think it looks absolutely incredible. We've sold a few of these over the years, including 9 karat gold, 18 karat gold, pink gold, and you know, they never fail to amaze me just how beautiful they are in person and on wrist. So that's what I'm wearing. But that is enough of the nonsense rambling. Let's get on to what you're here to see, which is the watches on the table. And we're going to have to start with the Rolex GMT-Master 1675. Let's take a closer look at this absolute beauty. What a watch to begin this week's episode with. Take a look at this. And again, you'll have to excuse any noise you hear. It is very hot in the office today as we're shooting this video, so I've got the windows wide open. But this is the Rolex reference 1675, the original GMT Master. For those of you who know your Rolex history, you'll know this Rolex reference very well. For those of you that don't, head over to our website. I believe we have a nice little write-up for you to give a read. I want to give you some reason to still go over there, so I'm not going to ramble too much. But this is a very gorgeous example from 1978 towards the end of this reference, and this features a Mark V dial. So there's different marks of the dials for the different ages and the different iterations and all that kind of stuff. But basically what you need to know is this is an original Mark V dial, beautiful original hands and indices matching gorgeously, and that is a Rolex service bezel, so later added by Rolex, likely swapped out. It's often what happened, unfortunately, and not very uncommon, but the most important thing is that dial and handset, which is beautiful. The age and the way that's patinaed is lovely. It's not gone that really dark brown, but it's also not jet white and super clear, so it's that sort of in between where it really is starting to develop some colour. Also open 6 and 9 on the date disc, so as that goes on to 16 and 9 and so on, you will see the open 6 and 9. those of you who know your references and know your details, you'll know what that means. It comes paired on its original Jubilee bracelet, which is nice. Unfortunately, will only fit just over my inch wrist. As you can see, there's only 2 options bigger, so that's something to keep in mind. I have just shy of a 7-inch wrist, so just over a 7-inch wrist this would fit. But a lovely example nonetheless. And inside this is a Rolex caliber 1570. For those of you who know about the GMT-Master, the GMT is coupled to the hour hand, so that means you can't set it independently, but you can use the bezel to set a different time zone. The bezel is friction fit, so you just slide it along, nice and easy, and then obviously get it lined back up to where you want it to be. Nice and simple. But let's show this one on wrist and taught dimensions. And there we go, fits me perfectly. I absolutely love the older generation case reference, especially the 4 digits on the Submariner and the GMT. I think they look perfect, and I just feel like they fit far better than the modern references. Again, you be the judge of whether that's true or not for your wrist, but for me, I definitely think that's the case. This is 40mm by 47mm lug to lug, only 12.5mm thick and 20mm lug, so endless options. I can attest that this watch looks fantastic on a leather strap as well as the bracelet. So go check this one out on the website today if it's still available, which I'll be surprised if it is, so jump on it whilst you can. From one Pepsi GMT Master to another, this time a lot later, all the way to 1997. This watch is as old as me. This is a birth year, and if only I had the money, I would snap it up. But this is a reference 16700. Let's take a closer look at this watch. So from the first ever GMT Master to the final ever GMT Master. Now some of you are going to be getting all confused. The GMT Master was evolved into the GMT Master 2. A lot of you guys and girls will know that, but for those of you that don't, that's something to keep in mind. This is a GMT Master, not a GMT Master 2. And what that means is the GMT hand is coupled to the hour hand. But what we're looking at here is the reference 16700, the final iteration. And this one is from June 1997, a birth year, nearly my birth month, not far off, but what a gorgeous example, really, really nice. This is all original dial, original hands, original bezel, original bracelet. We can keep going, and it even comes with its box and paperwork. What a gem. So here you go, oyster bracelet, really nice condition overall, and a gorgeous watch. Now this is going to be very difficult to capture, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to, and I don't know whether the photos would have captured it either, so I'm going to have to definitely let people know. But this dial actually has a almost speckle stardust effect. Don't know how quite to explain it, but basically there was an era of Rolex, or a certain year or a couple of years, where the lacquer they used on the paint started to do almost this weird bubbly sort of look. I don't know how to explain it, but it's really gorgeous and actually very attractive. It almost makes this gloss dial matte in certain lights. It's very difficult to explain. But yeah, this is absolutely gorgeous, and I would highly recommend coming in to check it out for yourself in person to see that dial and make your own judgment of what you think. But yeah, 1997 T serial, full box and paperwork, and inside the Rolex caliber 3175. And yeah, you can't really go wrong. Case is nice and sharp, price is incredibly fair for how much you're getting, and especially when you consider what the new Pepsis are going for, I think it's no brainer. I would go for this all day long. But let's show on wrist and taught dimensions. And here we go on my wrist, super comfortable, 40mm by 47mm lug to lug, only 11.5mm thick and 20mm lugs. Again, endless options and a gorgeous watch. So go check it out on the website and take it off my hands before I try and make some silly decisions to keep it, please. Thank you. From there, let's switch gears to vintage, and a incredible piece it is. This is a 1953 Fat Arrow, as its nickname, RAF watch from Omega. Let's take a closer look. So over to Omega, and what a fantastic watch to be looking at. This is an original Fat Arrow made in 1953 for the RAF. The reference to this one is CK2777-1. This also comes with its extract from the archives, which is very important, which is what makes us know it's actually April 1953. And inside is the manually wound Omega caliber 283RS. And this is a 12 million, just shy of 13 million serial number from the movement, and you can see original case back with its original engravings and the broad arrow indicating British military. So a very cool looking watch, and the reason these are called the Fat Arrow is because the broad arrow on the dial is more of a fat arrow rather than a broad arrow. That is literally it. That's where the nickname came from. So very, very cool. An original dial, original handset, and this is where I get excited because a lot of people out there are going to be very quick to say, well, that's not original, they're different colours. Well, let's educate. So, dial and hands for most brands didn't, and still to this day actually for a lot of brands, don't come from the same place. However, we are fortunate enough to have very modern mixtures of luminous material that we can make sure they match perfectly, and they don't age either. So today's loom will always look the same, and you can make it match dial and hands. However, back in the day, where they used to get the dials from, where they used to get the hands from, used to use different mixtures of the same tritium or radium mix. And this is the perfect example of that. These are different mixtures, and they are original, and they age differently. That is correct. That's how it should be. So this is a great opportunity to really sort of showcase that perfectly. So don't be put off by that. It's a good thing. It's a correct thing. But as I say, absolutely gorgeous, original condition. It doesn't come with any box and paperwork. It does come with this extract from the archives. And interestingly, it comes with a mug. And you might be wondering why on earth it comes with a mug. Well, this mug actually has an engraving from 1953 in regards to the RAF. And it also has a pilot, which was, it's all in there, you'll see it on the website. But basically, the story goes that this watch was presented to the person written on the mug. Can I prove that? No, so I'm not going to claim that to be fact, but it's kind of a nice story, and it's nice that they're both together. And I mean, what is the chances that you happen to have a 1953 RAF mug that was presented to someone and also have the watch at the same time to put two and two together? I mean, the chances are pretty low, but therefore we can't prove it either way. So take it for what it is, a nice story, and you get a pretty cool mug to put on a shelf and wear the watch as you will. But let's show on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my wrist, which is just shy of 7 inches. And we just realized this is actually a CWC NATO. So there you go, there's some added value. And I've got to be honest, military watches are the only watches I really like on NATOs, and I actually wear on NATOs. I'm not a fan of NATOs. Those of you who know me know this, but yeah, military 100% should always be on a NATO. This is 36.5mm by 48mm lug to lug, 14mm thick and 18mm lug, so endless options on NATO. Obviously it's a fixed spring bar, so keep that in mind. If you want to put leather straps, you need to get open-ended leather straps, which basically fold around the bar and clip down or glue down, so keep that in mind. But go check this watch out on the website. From there to something core and classic and everyone knows and loves, that is the Tudor Black Bay 58. Let's take a closer look. Here we go, absolute classic, the Tudor Black Bay 58 Black. Now we have had multiple of the black dial, multiple of the blue dial. I think I've said it before, but I'll say it again. The black dial is my personal choice. I prefer it over the blue. I think the blue looks fantastic, but the black is so timeless and so classic. It works. It really, really works. This is a reference 79030N. Inside is the automatic Tudor caliber MT5402, which is an in-house caliber. The watch comes paired on its full bracelet, some stickers still included because the watch is worn, but it was mostly worn on a strap. So you've got the bracelet in pretty much like new condition. It is from November 2019. It does come with its full box and paperwork, and it is very, very well priced considering it's worn, so you can save yourself a nice bit of money on retail. There's not an awful lot to say about this watch, so I'm not going to ramble on too long because I have spoken about it multiple times and probably will multiple times more. It's a great watch for the money. You really cannot go wrong, especially at retail. So when they become pre-owned, I think they are undeniable how good they are. Let's show on wrist and talk dimensions. And this right here is another reason why I think it's such a fantastic watch. The dimensions are perfect. This is 39mm by 47.5mm lug to lug, only 12mm thick and 20mm lugs. Endless options and perfectly made. Well done, Tudor. I think this is the epitome of what they can do for dive watches. So go check it out on the website. From there to a watch limited to 300 pieces. We've had one in the past and I'm excited to get another one. That is the Doxa Sub 300 C Rambler. Let's take a closer look. Now for a watch that I know a lot of you guys and girls out there really like, and obviously you can see why. This is such a cool watch. This is the Doxa Sub 300 C Rambler Aqualung Limited Edition. You can see the Aqualung patch right there on the dial, which by the way in the box you actually, or the box set, you actually get an Aqualung patch, which is really, really cool. But this is a historic watch. Doxa were one of the first, or one of the major dive watch suppliers back in the day, producing incredibly high quality but function over fashion watches, meaning they were designed to be used underwater. They were one of the first brands to actually incorporate very bright colors on the dial to allow for better visibility underwater. And we often see red used on dive watches, which is actually the least visible color underwater, surprisingly, which is one of those interesting random facts I learned a little while ago. Whereas orange, even though so similar to red, is very much more visible, and yellow and so on and so on, but still. Really cool watch. As I say, function over fashion. It was made to be used as a true tool. So this limited edition that they bought out of 300 pieces is a true testament and sort of homage to that original watch. It actually looks very, very close. It's quite eerie, really, how close it looks. This one does come on a modern Jubilee beads of rice bracelet, sorry, and is full size and comes with all of its links and folding clasp. It will fit a wrist probably twice the size of mine. It's insane. You can see nicely decorated Doxa case back there with the limited edition number out of 300. And inside is the automatic ETA 2824-2, so a very reliable, well-known movement. That is an absolute workhorse. And it's from September 2018. It does come with its full box of paperwork, which includes some CD, which has a load of history and a load of information. I've actually never loaded it up because I don't even have a CD player anymore, but there you go. You can check it out if you want. And as I say, it does come with an aqua lung patch as well that you can put on your jacket or your diving equipment or whatever it is you want to put it on. It's really, really cool to have. So let's show it on wrist and taut dimensions. So here we go, 42.5mm by 45.5mm lug to lug. That's only 3mm difference in the width compared to the length. And you can see it wears really well on the wrist, kind of like the turtle cushion shape, really cool. 13mm thick and 20mm lug, so quite short on the lug length. As you can see, the end link is shorter than the first link, so it sort of spans out. So keep that in mind if you're swapping over to a strap. Included is actually a bright orange button, I think it is a button rubber strap, which looks really cool on the watch. So go check it out on the website today. From there, let's go over to Bremont with the Martin Baker 3, a very cool watch. Let's take a closer look. Here we go, on to the next one, which is the Bremont Martin Baker 3, the MB3. So this watch is very, very cool. As you can see, you've got a GMT right there, which is really functional. You've got the date, and you also have an inner rotating bezel, which is operated via the bottom crown. I always go to grab this crown to change the time because for some reason that's instinctively where it usually be, I think. So I'm always changing this first and then going to change the time and the date and everything up here. So just keep that in mind. They're both originally signed crowns. Nice display, nice screw down case back as well, which is housing one of their automatic movements. It's a very long caliber, so I'll leave you to go see that on the website. But yeah, really, really cool. As you can see, bright orange center case and just a cool looking design paired on its original rubber strap. Nice original buckle. And Martin Baker, for those of you who don't know, they are the company that make the ejection seats for fighter pilots and aeroplanes, which is why, as you see on the second hand, the counterweight, which is really cool, is actually the pin lever, like the pull lever to eject the seat in an aeroplane. At least I assume it is, because I've never been in a fighter pilot, to be honest with you, so I assume that is what it is. But really, really cool. And interestingly, Bremont actually gift or provide people who actually have to eject out of the fighter pilots one of these watches with a different color barrel. I want to say a red barrel. I could be wrong on that, but I think it's red. I've only ever seen one come up for sale, and it sold for a very, very high price, which is insane. Because most of the people obviously keep them as sort of like a memory of what they probably went through. Because I can only imagine how difficult something like that is, and the amount of G-force you are subject to, and also the stress of having to be shot out of an aeroplane. I mean, how crazy would that be? One cool thing about these watches is they're tested to the same G-force and the same ratings that's required for being shot out of an aeroplane via the ejection seat. So some cool little history right there for you. But this one is from October 2018, and it does come with its full box and paperwork, but let's show it on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go on wrist, 42.5mm by 49mm lug to lug, 14.5mm thick and 22mm lugs. Really awesome on the wrist. Definitely on the bigger size, as Bremont usually are, but it's totally wearable if you have a wrist size similar to mine or bigger. If it's smaller, I would recommend trying it on first, just to be sure, because you might find it wears a bit big. But come try it on and see for yourself. From there to another Scofield. We are lucky to have had a few of these in now, and this is the Signalman GMT. Let's take a closer look. Next up, we have another Scofield Signalman GMT with the date and the power reserve up there at 12. Really cool looking watch. And as I say, we've had a few of these now. This is the all-polished stainless steel, and we just got this back from service with Scofield directly. Thank you very much, Giles, over there, for looking after this and also providing us with a nice new strap and buckle, which really suits the watch. But what a good looking watch for sure. I like what Scofield do. They're very true to their own design. And anyone who's ever met Giles knows he is passionate when it comes to the design of his watches. He likes what he likes and he sticks true to it, and I respect him for that. Whilst I do wish they were smaller so I could actually wear them, I do know so many people who wear them comfortably, and people with like my size wrist who are happy to wear this kind of size, so fair play, you know, there's market out there for everything. This is a limited edition of 300 watches total. It's an automatic movement inside, and this one's from May 2014 with its box of paperwork. As I say, fresh from service with Scofield, so running beautifully and under their 1-year warranty. You have a GMT down there at 6 o'clock, which can be changed by that little push pin right there towards the lug. So do keep that in mind if you want to change it. Obviously, it's coupled to the hour hand, so when you move around, it will move with it, but you can set it independently via there to any time zone you wish. So very, very handy. But let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. Here we go on my wrist. As you can see, just shy of a 7-inch wrist, and it totally fills up the wrists. I could get away with wearing it for sure, but it's definitely a different look to what I'm used to personally. 44mm by 51.5mm lug to lug, 15mm thick, which surprisingly, it isn't that thick, but it definitely wears the thickness differently to most watches. The lugs are really low, so it makes it appear as if the watch is taller than what it is. So usually the opposite of what most brands do. They try and make a thick watch seem thinner. He's actually made a thinner watch seem thicker, which is quite interesting really. And also you have 24mm lugs, so definitely massive on the lug length. Lug size, sorry, but a really cool watch nonetheless. So go check it out on the website. From there to a watch, I'm constantly asked on my opinion, so it's good to finally have one in and I can share what that opinion is. That is the Tissot PRX Powermatic 80. Let's take a closer look. So finally, let's talk about the Tissot PRX Powermatic 80. Now we finally have one in. I am constantly asked my thoughts on this watch, so it's cool to finally have one in, show you, talk about it, and give my thoughts. And here it is. It's awesome. That's it. There's no more to it. This watch is brilliant for the asking price at retail, and even more so pre-owned. The quartz are fantastic, the smaller sizes they brought out, the dial colours. I think the PRX is going to be a new long-term hit with Tissot, and I think what they're doing is fantastic. They have some really interesting stuff coming in the chrono range, because I know a certain somebody at Tissot, so I've seen a couple of things, thank you very much, and they look brilliant, and I'm really excited to see what happens. But this is the PRX Powermatic 80 in blue, the classic, the one that most people seem to want, and the one that was unavailable. It still is in a few stores, which is just crazy to think. You have this gorgeous integrated design, which is actually quick release, by the way, with a deployant hidden sort of clasp, nicely done. Nice exhibition case back showing the Powermatic 80. You know, this is a watch that really ticks so many boxes. It has the original 1970s vibe to it, and it's done in a very nice way. And Tissot actually have history and heritage when it comes to integrated bracelets. So it's not like they are just ripping off another sort of theme that people are jumping on. Whilst they certainly are to some level, you can't blame them, but they have history to back it up at least. So it's very cool to see. Powermatic 80 is a very reliable and well-used movement across the industry, which goes across multiple brands, not just Tissot, so it's great to see it being used. And this one's from October 2021 with its full box and paperwork. So save yourself some of retail if it's still available. I suspect it won't be, but if it is, jump on it quick. But let's show on wrist and talk dimensions. And this is where originally I actually didn't really like the watch because I thought it was going to be a bit too big. However, having it actually on wrist, I can get away with this very comfortably, and I actually would get this size. Originally I thought I'd go for a smaller size, but you know what? I actually think this fits very, very nicely. What you're looking at is 40mm by 44mm lug to lug, only 11mm thick, and you have to excuse the noise, typical, and 27mm lugs from this point, but it tapers all the way down to the clasp, so keep that in mind. But a good looking watch, and one I highly rate for the price, so go check it out today. From there to a watch you might recognize. This is a watch I actually wore to my honeymoon. I bought specifically for that purpose. I was intending on keeping it, but as you guys know, I keep getting new watches in, and it's just, this is the trouble with being a watch dealer and a collector. There's never enough. So this is my personal, or was my personal, Seiko Paddy Turtle. Let's take a closer look. Now we're on to a watch, as I said, I bought for my honeymoon to take away because I wanted a screw down crown dive watch for the few times I actually bothered going into the water. But still, you know, it's like any excuse to get a new watch. And this is the one I chose. I went into, I believe it was H. Samuels, and actually managed to pick up one at a bit of a discount, which is always nice because I was buying two. So yes, Leah got a watch as well, and she still owns that one. It's not going for sale. You know what, looking at this again, I think I'm going to regret selling it. What a cool watch. Look at that grenade black dial, the pops are blue. There's a reason I chose this one. It's gorgeous, and it's part of the King Turtle range. So basically you've got a sapphire crystal with a cyclops and a ceramic bezel. So it's all the upgraded bits and bobs that you'd expect. The higher price range. Well, actually, that being said, even at the higher price range, I still think these are very respectable specs, and I don't think you actually come to expect them for the most part, so it's good to see Seiko doing this. But the reference to this one is the SRPG 19K1, and inside is the automatic Seiko caliber 4R36. This one is from April 2022, because I obviously bought it myself. It does come with its box and paperwork and all the links. Now, as I say, I did wear this watch. The head of the watch is pretty much mint. There's not really any marks on it, whereas the bracelet, I don't know what I did to it, but Jesus Christ, I wore that to death. So do keep that in mind. That clasp certainly has some scratches. Maybe it means you don't have to baby it if you pick it up yourself, and you can use it as a true dive watch and just batter it, which is kind of fun. But let's show on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on wrist. We'll see if this one actually makes it to the website. It might just end up coming back with me, to be honest. So here we go. We've got 45mm by 47mm lug to lug, only 13mm thick and 22mm lugs. A great watch. It looks great on the bracelet. There's fitted rubber straps that really suit it as well. So go check it out today if it is on the website, and snap it up before I change my mind. From there to a super charming and very well priced Glycine Airman #1, as it's known, with the GMT. Let's take a closer look at this one. And here we go, the Glycine Airman #1 GMT. Really, really cool looking watch. And beautifully proportioned, I will add, at 36mm, which we'll touch more on in a second. But look at the thinness of that for a GMT. And Tudor over here with their Black Bay GMT saying they can't make it thinner just yet. I mean, how do Glycine do it? Look at this. It's ridiculous. So for those of you who know the history of the Airman, there is so much history in this watch. I'd highly recommend you give it a research. Check out our website. I'm not going to touch too much on it because I want to give you something to look forward to in terms of reading over at the website. One nifty feature, this bezel is locked right now, and you have this other screw down crown, which as you unlock it, you can move the bezel. And that's a feature that they originally had in the watch, and this predates any sort of clicking bezel feature that we have in watches today where it locks in. So before you would have to screw it down. Now obviously this isn't necessary today, but this is a heritage design and it's true to the original, and it looks fantastic. Beautifully proportioned, sticker still on the back. This is the GL0158, and it's from October 2020 with its box and paperwork in virtually unworn condition. It has been worn, but very lightly, so you're not really going to see any signs of wear. But let's show on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my wrist, 36mm by 45.5mm lug to lug, only 11.5mm thick and 20mm lugs. Endless options on this watch, a real gorgeous watch. And for the price, I think you're going to be surprised. And by the way, it's limited to 1,000 pieces. Don't know if I said that, so go check it out on the website today. And last but by no means least, we're going to finish off with another WMT, this time the Royal Marine. I absolutely love this watch. Let's take a closer look. And finally, a WMT. This is the Royal Marine diver, as you can say, the Mil Sub homage, because it's homaging the Rolex Military Submariner, which had the radium or tritium, circled dial and the sword hands. A very gorgeous watch. It actually featured fixed spring bars as well, so it was always worn on a NATO or a folded bracelet. This one, as you can see, doesn't have fixed spring bars, so you can swap it over onto what you want. Dive rotating bezel, which is friction fit and is a little bit on the looser side, I'll be honest with you guys, so do keep that in mind. But this is the reference Royal Marine, and inside is an automatic Miyota caliber. This one's from May 2021, and it does come with its box and paperwork. And as you can see, it's original NATO strap, which really suits the watch fantastically, brilliantly, whatever the words are. But an absolutely gorgeous reference. And as you see, WMT, they sort of age the dials, age the loom, age the hands, and they really give it this pop of character. It does look like an old military submariner, which I think is really cool for the price. But let's show on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my wrist. What a good looking watch. This is 39mm by 46.5mm lug to lug, only 14.5mm thick, which is made thicker due to the crystal, so do keep that in mind, and 20mm lugs. Absolutely perfect, and what a good looking watch. So go check this one out on the website today. So there you have it, guys and girls. Another week and another 11, sorry, not 12, another 11 watches. And again, the range is incredible. This is what I want to be able to do each and every week. And as I said last week, more vintage is coming. We're working on it. Obviously, this week we had the 1675, which, what a fantastic watch. And the 53 Omega RAF as well. Again, both incredible watches in their own rights and in very different ways. But that's what I love about vintage. You can get a real range of things in a real range of prices. So it's always exciting. But thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, be sure to leave a like, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification. I never say these things, I always forget about it, but it does certainly help us. So thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you all again next time. Take care.